Hello, so if you've seen my chessboard that is on my YouTube page there, it's also on my Instagram, I'm making some smaller versions. It turned out very well. And as I was preparing for a shop tour video, I was making some room for some wood from up top above my press table and around, and I found some offcuts that I needed to either get rid of or use, and I found that they were the exact length I needed to make lumber cord for some small 12-inch chessboards. So I went through my scrap bins, found wood that was appropriate length for 12-inch chessboards, and what I've done here is I've gone through the process of making cross banding on top of lumber core and cutting all of the veneers I'm using for these boards. So they're going to be about 1.125" thick, 12-inch by 12-inch planing surface plus an edge. So here I've got English walnut. Now I'm using obviously the heartwood, which is very nice wood for that. And then I'm using the sapwood. So it's both English walnut, just the light and dark squares, or sapwood and heartwood, which I think is going to be probably the nicest one. And on this one here, I've got Gonzalo Alves and red oak. So they go pretty well together. This will darken up quite a bit. See the edge there? I don't know if you can tell, but on the bottom red oak, and the light squares and the planing surface red oak. I haven't worked out what I'm going to edge the boards in yet. Then on this one over here, I'm using red oak on the bottom because I have more of it, and I'm using maple as the light squares with Gonzalo Alves. So I'll have two boards with Gonzalo Alves as the dark squares, and then on this board here I have cherry, which is an old piece I must have had for 10 years. That's the full length of the piece I had, and the thickness. So that worked out perfectly. That'll be the dark squares and the bottom of the board. And then I have bird's eye maple for the lighter squares. So I'm moving on to next phase, which will be starting to join the veneers to make the planing surfaces and the bottoms. Now what I'm going to do, they're going to be 1.5 inches wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip them to a 1/16 above that. After I use my plane and get a nice crisp flat edge on one side, I'll go to the bandsaw and cut it about a 1/16 wide. Then I will also do it on the light squares. So I'll cut off my 1.5 inches off of there. Do it on all of them, and then I will start doing the edge joints and gluing them together. So you do light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, glue them all together, and then cut them the opposite way to make the chessboard. So then I will flatten the veneers and glue them down. That's quite a bit of edge joining. So that's probably going to take a few days to get through, just because gluing time, really. So I don't expect to have these glued down yet. I'm going to leave the vacuum bag set up. Yeah, I don't expect them to have them glued down probably till Monday, because that's, 4, that's like 8 glue ups just for the top. So I have to let that dry. So that's 32 plus the bottom. There's a lot of edge joints there. So that's going to take a few days to get to, so I'll have something else going if I can fit the time in there. Now it's got really dusty in here, so I'm gonna work on cleaning that up since I'm past the veneering parts. I have to do some edges on here on the end grain so that I can glue to it. And I gotta figure out what wood I'm going to frame them in. It's kind of easier to do that when I have the veneers down so I can see the color tones better.